Brown as the 7th-best player on a team. And then Brown responded on X saying this: analytics nowadays use to discredit and control narratives. Roll the ball out. None of these guys better than me on both ends. Who does he work for? Then he went on to say, nobody has won more combined regular season and playoff games since I entered the league 10 years ago. Analytics have/are ruining the game. We playing AI hoops. Vinny, I'll come to you first. What's your reaction to what Jaylen Brown had to say?
Well, there's so much here, right? There's the Jaylen Brown is the 7th-best player on the team. That's bull, right?
That's crazy.
The part about analytics being too ingrained into basketball, that's a different conversation. When you think about the way that the team ownerships have changed throughout the course of the past 15 years, more hedge fund guys, more people who speak that language, that's a big part in it. When we fall in love with the game, we don't fall in love with the game because analytically you got to hit the corner three, you only take a layup, you can't do anything mid-range. You fall in love with the game because of the creativity, because of everything else. I fell in love with basketball because of that. Analytically, it's about efficiency. And I think sometimes that's why it breaks down on color lines, it breaks down on economic lines and everything. It's like speaking a language that you can't understand. And a lot of times it's talking over someone's head. It can be very insulting. At the same time, it does have its place in the game. It's not going anywhere. And when I've talked to analytics people who say, we love Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is a guy that I would trade 3 first-round draft picks for. So it's not, when you say analytics, that can mean a bunch of different things. It's such a code word with all these different meanings that people are genuinely afraid of it. I think there's the Jaylen Brown discussion, the analytics discussion, and the way that you can meld the two, but it's not necessarily something that just sort of stands alone.
So I want to first speak to one of the big ironies about what Jaylen Brown tweeted here, because part of the reason that the Celtics are struggling in the playoffs, they've been playing analytic-based basketball. They play ChatGPT basketball, which is you go to the three-point line, you shoot threes, and you do not get the easier shot when they're available to you. And my hope is that Jaylen Brown bottles that feeling that he has about analytics, and he takes it to wherever team he is, or even if it's the Boston Celtics, and says, this is how we win. We go out there and get a bucket instead of relying just on the three-point shot. And if we go 5 for 40 from three and lose a game, we'll find another method outside of that. So that's the analytics part of this. The Jaylen Brown part of it is this is a guy who is fed up with the way that he has been treated, right? And you got to talk about from the beginning, before he even got in the league, the way people were talking about him as being too smart for basketball. And you've been on the trading block when all he has done has rung the bell and been there every single time they've asked him to do something. Be the number two, been probably the best number two in the league. Go there and lead the team when your best player is out. He carried that team to a number 2 seed in the playoffs. And then things kind of fell apart when he had to reintegrate that other player back in, and then he couldn't play in game 7, right? So Jaylen Brown has done all the things you've been asked to do, and all he's gotten in response, yes, contracts and some money, but also been the guy that they talk about is when the Celtics need to move on to somebody else, Jaylen Brown is the guy that has to go. And along the way, he's had nothing but disrespect and the way people have talked about his game. And then this is the last straw where whoever this person is who said this, who does not deserve a job, I'm in the front office somewhere, I'm calling all my analytics people in the office and say, who said this? If you did, you cannot work here anymore. To have this come out in the midst of the trade discussion, this dude is fed up, and I do not blame him for having Twitter fingers over it.
I mean, look, finals MVP, an NBA champion, career highs in points, rebounds, and assists, carried the Celtics this season where everyone thought that this Celtics team was going to have a gap year. They had, 56 wins this season. It is disrespect when you take a look at how people are treating Jaylen. 7th-best player on the team is absolutely insane. But, Wendy, what's your reaction to what Jaylen Brown had to say on X?
I think Vince is right. When you say analytics, it is a code word. It's a cover and catch-all for a lot of different philosophies that sort of blend into one. I would say that analytics, you don't play basketball with 5-6 foot guys. You don't play basketball with 5-7 foot guys, although maybe we'll get there in the future. There's layers to what makes a great basketball team, and there's layers to what makes up decisions that a team makes, whether it's how they play or how they acquire players. You have analytics as a layer. When DraftKings sets a line for the game, they don't just look at straight numbers. They're looking at performance history. They're looking at injuries. They're basing it on potential inside information. They're basing it on scouting evaluation and numbers. It's a patchwork. And when you put a team together, it's a patchwork. And, analytics is on the bus. It doesn't mean that analytics is driving the bus. Some teams, it's sitting up front. Some teams, it's sitting in the third row. Analytics is a piece of what you do to evaluate a player. You don't only look at analytics. And if there's an analytics person on a team that says they evaluate Jaylen Brown as 7th, fine, that's his evaluation. You can criticize and say he's wrong. He probably thinks he's right. You go look at your coaches and say, what are your coaches? Well, the coaches may say Jalen's number 1. And your development people may say Jalen's number 3. And you put all that together and you make your evaluation of a player. It's great, shades of gray and buried in nuance. But I would agree, anybody who thinks it's only analytics would get mad. And if Jaylen thought it was that way, he would get mad. But I think we all know that this is all nuanced. But it's a discussion because, as Vinny said, of the coding that takes away the nuance.
I do want to point out that I did speak to Bobby Marks on SportsCenter the day before, and he did tell me that this is what they're saying, like the analytics. Mm-hmm. However, he looked at it as like, 7th best player. I go by the eye test. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at Jaylen Brown on the floor and what he's doing for this Celtics team, what he did last season, what he did when they won an NBA championship. He's obviously not a 7th best player. He could be a one option, honestly, in my opinion, pretty much anywhere around the NBA. Vinny, I want to come to you. Just how sought after should Jaylen Brown be, though, when you take a look at these other teams around the league?
That's a great question because it looks like the Celtics are canvassing the league to figure out what Jaylen Brown's value is. And what they've come out and said is, or what they want is, we're not maybe trying to find player for player. We're trying to find draft capital. So maybe that's a play off of what they're receiving as far as information and intel from other franchises. I will say this, there are teams that if you look at them, you're like, if Jaylen Brown is my 2nd best player, we are a championship team. One team we did not mention in that first block. Can you imagine him with the Denver Nuggets? Yeah. Playing with Nikola Jokic as a guy that can defend, play off of Jokic, create his own shot, do all the different things. Like, he's a great Swiss Army knife. He's just a high-level Swiss Army knife. I think what gives some teams pause is they wonder about him off the floor, what makes him happy, all the diverse interests, quote-unquote too smart, the labels, all the things that are generally unfair when you think about it, but these are the things that some teams are thinking about. Is he going to be a headache? What's going to satisfy him? If Boston isn't enough, will we be enough? All of those things come into play. I'm fascinated